Just
We're
waiting
going
for
that
your
Oh,
presentation.
no, we've got it.
Yes,
Yeah,
we've
okay.
got the same
Leave
one.
it there.
Yeah.
All right, so next one. Okay. God, is that number 4?
That's over the page. I think.
Oh, it's the wrong one. But I hadn't done numbers. I hadn't done them. It's really
It's recorded.
Yes, I record them if that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Just automatically record
No,
them.
no, it's all good.
I can stop it if you'd like.
I'm not camera shy. A lot of things, but yeah.
I'm not sure if people online can hear us just yet.
Yeah, perfect. And then if we go, yeah, sure, that's working.
That's working, but it's.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Just quickly click yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're good.
Have you received the confirmation pin from here?
Yeah, no, John just said that, yeah.
That is all we need.
Lovely.
Have a good session.
Thank you so much. Okay, so for those of you who don't know Shaun, I don't know you. Shaun was part of the Alpha Group, so he's just gone out on his own with his own AFSL. But so he's part with Simone.
Yeah, it's mine before, yeah.
Yeah. So you may have met him at Alpha PD or conference. Shaun has a really interesting business model.
Yeah.
A really interesting business model. So everything's virtual. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
In aged care. So you only do aged care advice?
Predominantly, but no, we will.
Do a little bit of super and retirement. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason that I've asked Shaun to come along is because his business model is very different. And he's targeted a demographic that we kind of typically go, they won't want to do things virtual. Right. And that's why I'm so interested in what Shaun does is he's overcome those barriers. And he's been able to engage with the clients still in a manner that they understand, they respect, and it makes things easier for them, makes things easier for Shaun as well. So I'm going to hand over.
Oh, can I get you? I'm trying to record this too, and I love tech, like anything tech heavy. I don't want to be talking so much about it, but one of them is this. I want to see. Do you reckon? Maybe I'll. Yeah, Matt. Do you reckon you can? So let's see. Tech is mainly good, but this is one of the tools that I use a lot from my. The one thing that I need help with is this. So you'll see all the stuff that I love. Now, when that goes in, can you box me in it? Like, so my whole body's boxed.
Yeah.
Is that, and now, is it following me around? Can it see me? Is it on video?
It is on video.
So just box me again. Stuff I do.
No.
Yeah, go on video, and if you draw a box around my body
Oh, yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
and now if I move, see how it's got. Can you press record now, please?
Stop
Little
it.
legend.
Again. Okay.
Thanks heaps. Legend. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Shaun, and this is it wasn't part of my demo, but this is something I use all the time. And a lot of what I do with tech, and I'm going to talk about, and I was just telling Borgie that I'm a complete open book with how I operate, what I do, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. This is one of the tools that I use that basically replaces humans a little bit. So previously I used to pay someone, whether that was someone internal in the business or someone I'd hire to get videos. I've had professional videographers, I've had people hold that for me. Whereas now this can follow me around, create content. No, it's not going to produce professional video like quality, but I don't need that. This isn't going out to the world. It helps me with my own content and my own LinkedIn, which I'm going to use some of these snippets for, possibly. So, all right, about me, about us, what we do. So Caroline introduced. So we've just recently got our own AFSL. We did operate under Simone's, Leishman's Financial Services. We've got our own, we run a few different businesses under that. We've got aged care financial planning, which is probably around 70 to 80% of our business comes from aged care work. Then Retirement Village, financial advice, self-explanatory what we do. Journey Wealth, I'm probably going to get rid of that trading name soon, but that's your just vanilla financial planning. And that's maybe about 20% of what we do too, just normal financial planning. But the truth is, between all of us professionals, everything that we do is still financial planning. That comes under the AFSL. One of the other things that we do is that we do have a separate business registered. It's called Pension Experts. And the reason I've got a separate ABN and a separate business is that we sought extensive legal advice on this, but a financial planning company, ABN, that charges under a protected name and charges a regular ongoing fee to our clients, whilst it is permissible if it's clear to the client that it's not providing a financial service, but if they're getting an AFSL registered, like a corporate authorised rep, charging a regular fee and they're not providing FDSs, it's fine for a non-AFSL company. Like we've got personal trainers, gyms that charge it. Under us, it just becomes a little bit murky. It's a lot easier just having a separate company. So we do all the same things a lot of other people do, but we charge it separately to avoid any kind of confusion for the end client and for us and ASIC. So separate PI policy under administrative services that doesn't fall under our own AFSL. But that's what we do. We basically only help people pretty much above the age of 50 with retirement planning, retirement villages and aged care. In terms of our team, I'll come back to this, but we've got myself, I'm off the tools completely now. I've got another senior financial planner, I've got an aged care specialist, we've got a combination of support. I'm trying to hire for a concierge locally here too, because despite all the tech stuff that I'm going to talk about that we use, there is definitely a place for human connection, especially in something as emotional as what we do when it comes to aged care. And we are looking after probably the most stressful point in people's lives and the last decision they'll ever make for their parents and their legacy. So, all right, so 2019, I'm going to talk about our virtual mindset, because the virtual mindset is what really interests people, especially when it comes to aged care, that people just don't think this is possible. Now, we thought about this at first. I'd always just had this at the back of my mind. I used to work at ANZ in the eastern suburbs, like ANZ Eastland, Forest Hill. We used to see everyone face to face. ANZ Croydon, a lot of big brands. There used to spend heaps of time there. And it was all, honestly, like right now, the only clients I really see face to face are my old legacy ANZ clients who kind of came across. Even then, but I always wanted to work remotely. I always liked the idea of a remote business. COVID hitting was one of the best things that could have happened to us. I know there were other practices, and there might be some here, I don't know. There were people who shed their staff and a lot of things like that. They just, they couldn't do it. Now, even for me, we weren't set up for it that way. I actually bought my first Zoom Pro account in the middle of a client meeting. I was at 35 minutes. I could see the timer ticking. And then I literally distracted the client while I quickly logged into Zoom Pro, got out my credit card and registered so the meeting would expire. So that was my first introduction, while I was in my kids' playroom, and I moved everything so background wise. But what it let me do is that we escaped lockdown. So I spent when people bitch about the Melbourne lockdown, I didn't know about it because all of 2020, I was in a caravan in Queensland, making my way from the coastal route all the way up to the top, Cape York. An Optus SIM card, Telstra SIM card, travelling the whole time. Our business quadrupled. Instead of previously, I could only really service a 15-kilometre ring around me because that was the length it took for people to come into our office. But after that, when I started, it just started randomly with a Western Suburbs client that I would have previously referred off to another competent professional. Then I realised, why am I limiting myself to the Western Suburb or anywhere? And then there's a whole bunch of other places all over Australia. And as most of us know, aged care legislation, it's federal. Financial planning is all the same thing. It's just knowing some nuances. So, so extended beyond that. And here's the thing, I don't want to, just this while others struggle, I don't want to, look like I'm dancing on the graves of others, but COVID was just a positive for us. It forced us to innovate. It forced us to come up with ways to just do business online and make this our new normal. This is just how we do business. If you want to do business with us, this is how we do it. We don't really offer people. We'll talk about the client journey. And there's been a few speaking things similar to this that I've done, like with the Aged Care Gurus Network and other people about how we do it, especially in aged care. I didn't aim to, I didn't do this because I wanted to be an industry leader or anything like that, but realistically, it was only because I wanted an easier life for myself, not having to come into the office every day. That's why I was, made it a year with our business doing ridiculous figures while I was in a caravan. I didn't actually have a suit. Like I didn't even have suit pants. I just had a shirt that I didn't iron the whole time, but I just put on. All right. These are the objections that I hear all the time. That firstly, no one's going to pay thousands of dollars for virtual advice for someone they haven't met on a screen. There's no way someone's going to pay that. Like hand over that much money, like transfer 10 grand over the internet, someone. I mean, you can read some of the other ones, but like the premium client, I know we're in perpetual head offices that I think people think if you're going to charge a premium price point, then charging people, whatever it is, we had an ongoing client paying us 25 grand a year, and do they expect these beautiful offices like this coming into the 29th story of the Rialto and Collins Street if you're going to charge that? No, not always. Older clients can't handle technology. This is the one that I get everywhere. I was just talking to these guys about it. I hear this all the time. Like, oh no, my clients can't do Zoom. They can't do DocuSign. They can't. And the question I always bring on to all these planners and ask them is like, can they really not do it? Are you 100% sure they can't do it? Have you seen it? Have you asked them? Have you tested it? Or are you just assuming they can't do it? Are you projecting this onto them? What if they had to do it then? Could they do it? I think you find a lot of the time they probably could. They probably have. And the benefits, especially in Melbourne, like we've all made it through COVID. Most people have been forced to innovate. Not everyone. And there are people out there who still swear by old traditional means, and that's okay. Those people are out there. There were people, 100 years ago who swore by the horse that, motor cars are a fad. And those just aren't our clients. Things like this, like, belly to belly, shake hands, face to face, it's the only way to do things. You need a physical office to be professional, doesn't work for complex advice. That it's a fad. Now that COVID's over, everyone's back to the offices, the whole Zoom thing is going to go away and you can't build real relationships and all of this stuff. I'm not saying there isn't an element of truth to all of these. There is, to a certain extent. However, if these don't prevent you from building a successful business in financial advice, building successful relationships, knowing in terms of the financial advice I do, even for our normal financial ongoing clients, I'm not one of these big compliance-y, focus on the numbers and all of that. Of course, we do all of that. But I'm more likely to be able to tell you about the last holiday they went on, their grandkids' names, the struggles that they've been through, discussions with their boss about how they're going to negotiate dropping a day. Those are the sorts of discussions I've had, things that deeply drive them. The impact that their upbringing has had on their lives. We've got a values-based process. That, to be honest, that's real advice for me. And then, by the way, here's the ROA. By all means, read over it and look over it. And if there's any detail you want to hear, I'll go into enormous depth on anything. But we can do all of this stuff with clients that I've never met all over Australia. And I can tell you these things about them. And it is possible. You don't need to be face-to-face for this. So this is our reality. Over 95% of our clients are digital. That's just our way of doing business. It's the only entry point into the business. And we've got people all over Australia, literally all over Australia. There's nowhere that's not represented. And that really helped us, especially during COVID times, that we were there and we had a model for everyone. And in terms of time-wise too, heaps of time. But service delivery, that's our price point. We start at $3.9 for our advice, generally speaking, with the initial advice up to $9.9. And the way our cash flow model works is it's 100% payment upfront before we've done any work. the only way of doing anything. And same with our, I don't think I've got it here, but our first like we do a 15-minute initial call, then it leads to a $3.95 meeting, or it leads to nothing. Like that's it. Like you pay for that. There's value they leave, and we take that payment, credit card details. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. I'll get into like service and more efficient. Oh yeah, and do talk about our digital advice process. And I'm more than happy to answer questions. But basically the way we work is that initial 15-minute call gets booked in. There's a discovery meeting. It needs payment or it doesn't happen. It doesn't go in. Workflows don't get triggered. No one does any work. We weren't always like this. Digital pre-meeting questionnaire. Again, people say, I heard this so much. Our clients would not fill that in. They wouldn't go through all of that. Once they've paid $400, one, they will. And two, almost everyone can fill in a physical form online and get us the information that we want to get from them, A, and two, questions that will trigger the right responses in them that prime them for the advice we give them.
Shaun, will you book the meeting in before they've actually filled that pre-meeting questionnaire out, or?
Yeah. So we've got a workflow that's set up. So as soon as let's just say, you've called me to book in, we'll take your name, the details we need, and then that automatically triggers off pre-meeting questionnaire. But then
What drives your workflows, Shaun?
yeah, pressing submit process payment.
All right.
Oh, as in,
If you have a platform, do you use a?
yeah, I'll go into all of the tech stuff. Yeah. No, but then there's also a compliance reason for this too, because some people might have picked up aged care, vulnerable clients, POAs do 90-something% of this advice. Are we going to do this without POAs? Nope. Pre-meeting questionnaire needs to be filled in, or we are not setting this appointment. And we tell people that on the meeting, before the meeting, like on the first phone call. And if they haven't filled it in, we've got a workflow to chase that up. I'm not going to do advice for someone who hasn't uploaded a copy of their POA or sent us a copy. No friggin' chance. But same with financial, so we can prepare for it. And if they haven't done it, we've got workflows to chase it up. If they really can't do the digital form, we'll send them a Word doc. And if they really can't, those cases, what I'd say is, and I always draw this back to this example, I used to give it to my bankers, that like, if there was a Ferrari involved and someone said, even I've got this Ferrari, it's $10,000, like brand new Ferrari, it's just right place, right time. Can you come up? But you've got like 20 minutes to come up with 10 grand and then it's yours. You've got this huge value. How many of them would find a way to do it? Most people probably would. There's all these excuses in the book. Now, when it comes to this, I sort of relate it to filling in a pre-meeting questionnaire. Sometimes it's in the too hard basket, filling in a fact find, whatever. But when they know that this is the benefit, that we can prepare for the meeting, your homework lets us do our homework. That drives that next step. And we'll just tell them straight up. If you don't do it, we'll just, if you really don't want to do it, we'll give you your money back. Just cancel the meeting. But it always works. We don't do many refunds. So with the tech integration, I'll come back to that actually, but I'll go ahead a bit. We built our own custom CRM to do a lot of this, but now we're actually doing a lot of this through HubSpot now. We've integrated HubSpot, taken on a consultant, and that's where all of it because it starts with the awareness and marketing with the clients. That's all done through HubSpot. Then we go from HubSpot into all of that sales is all done. So I've got good numbers and data. We are now using Facebook ads, Google ads to build it because I'm trying to fill up the calendar of my sales guys so I can replicate all of them. So these are the tools that we use. HubSpot for that whole sales process, some of the tasking process. Once they've done a fact find, the reality is it's all the same shit that we all do. Advisor logic. We could just as easily use Xplan for this, or whichever one of the million, not million, one of the 5 tools really that most people have got. And there's some of the other stuff that we use that I'll probably go into a bit. But so far, tech drives everything with what we do, but it drives the client experience to make it better. Recorded calls, every client, The calls are all recorded. Every Zoom we do is recorded. That itself is a selling point. Even though we have an office here, well, I literally tell clients, you don't want to come into the office. We'll waste time. Your notes are only so good. You're better off doing this over Zoom because that way everything's recorded. We don't fluff about. You can share it with other family members. You can refer back to it. If you forget about things a year later, you can go back. Even when we don't do risk anymore, but this for a risk client saved us. Someone had an insurance claim and then it came back about undisclosed back injury. And then we did a personal statement through the client. And then the insurer came back and asked us, did you ask these questions? And we were under a bit of fire. I thought, oh, God. We had a Zoom recording of the personal statement that I went through. Any back problems? Nope. So anyway, that there's good and there's other parts, but even transcribe, we auto transcribe everything. The way our tech is set up, it's fully integrated within our CRM. So that already extracts all of the notes, all of the keys without a file note. And then we use this to actually, with prompts that are already done, to make a proper file note that then gets taken and put into Advisor Logic. Unfortunately, it doesn't talk that well between them, but we just accept certain parts have to be manually driven. That's okay. Yeah, client portal, we're getting, with all of this set up, virtual desktop, everyone, we've got team, I skipped across the team, but we've got team members in the Philippines that we hire directly, not through an agency. And I've got myself, and then a team locally. My main aged care sales guy is a legend, my aged care specialist based in Adelaide. These don't cause issues. Everyone is on a virtual cloud setup, and then we're just all over Teams all day, every day. And cloud-based collaboration. We're on and off. We've got a virtual office environment that we work through. Like, it doesn't matter if someone's in Manila, Melbourne, or Adelaide, it's all the same. It also lets me bring people on board pretty quickly with a cloud system. Sometimes I've just brought on 2 new people in the Philippines. I'm not included here. I just have to set them up on an IT system. I can also shut them down in a second, rip their laptops, whatever. Even if they're next to me, it's easy. Yeah, so that's some of our other core infrastructure that we're using and that we're changing. So virtual desktop, SharePoint, Office Suite. Yeah.
The dial pad that you've mentioned you've got coming soon, is that for phone calls to clients and everything like that? Or?
Yeah, so one of the issues is we've got multiple, each one of the brands has got its own 1300 number that's hosted one place. Then it goes through to a Teams phone system that someone else manages. That's another. Every one of us team members have got phones. And whilst phones can be diverted a little bit, and mine is on permanent divert, text messages cannot be as easily diverted. And then we've got Fusion Center, our other program that does calling and texting. So we've got like maybe 4 or 5 different, and then HubSpot sending emails. And we've got 4 or 5 different comm systems. Getting someone to man all of that is going to be a freaking nightmare. So we're porting every single one of our numbers into Dialpad. That'll be over the next 2 weeks. So for Christmas, clients respond really well to text messages. So text, calls, all done in one spot, all done through HubSpot, natively integrated. So that's part of it. And our 1300 numbers. Yeah. So those are some of the, and they're coming soon. Like, it's really coming soon. Yeah. All of this stuff. I'm not going to go too long, just time wise with this, but how we document. These are some of the other tools that we use. Otter. This whole presentation I did this morning. How I did it, I spent about less than 30 minutes of time doing it. The way my brain works, I've got a big ADHD brain that goes all over the place. I've got 1,000 things going on at any given point in time. And I had ADHD before it was cool, by the way, like diagnosed in the 90s. But like, but one of the issues that I do struggle with though is that I do have 1,000 thoughts and trying to just people keeping up and me, and then yeah, like focus and just trying to get everything out of my head in a meaningful manner. And I wish I could have someone with good patience following me around writing it all down, but my handwriting's too messy too. But what I can do with Otter is that I can dictate every part of my thoughts. One of the parts, I'm not going to show you all here, but we've got full process maps, diagrams drawn out for everything. I spent about 5 hours dictating all of it because I know it. I know my whole business off the top of my head. I can just go with a beer in hand and then talk about it. Getting me to write it all down and type it all out take me years. Whereas I can take 5 hours of my brain going nuts and all over the place. Oh, and this and that. Oh, yeah, this. How was your weekend? Oh, that was good. Oh, yeah, by the way, this compliance thing. And this, and then, you know, and then I can bring all of that in, and same with client meetings in with honour. And then even documenting how we did it, call it realistically. I haven't actually seen this presentation. Like I know what's in it because I gave the contents, but truth be told, I'm being serious here. All I did was document it, say roughly how long I want it. I downloaded probably 30 minutes of me rapid talking. I did export, sent it to Claude, and then copied and pasted it to my team. And I said, whoever's best with PowerPoint, put this together. And show the team's messages, approve it. But but I'm pretty confident. We use ChatGPT to solve complex problems, and we use Claude to create things like this. And same with solving problems. Half of it, like if you can verbalize a problem, it'll solve all of it. So yeah, these are the things that we do. I mean, look, we've got pretty clear processes. Our infrastructure is pretty good. One of the challenges we have is that there's all these tools that individually do things really well. I'm sure we've all seen that, you know, like Xplan's a perfect example that individually there's probably a better SOA generator. There's probably a better research tool through Zenith. There's probably a better whatever. Like there's one part that does everything. There's a better workflow program, might be Zeppo, but realistically, Xplan kind of does all of it, all in one. Ours is that sort of one. We don't, and it gets, the more you scale, the more staff, the harder it is, more important it comes to do everything. So our keys are just investing in our technology, look at what works. I haven't really talked about it too much, but even security with team all over the place, especially in the Philippines. Hiring, really important for us. And I can answer questions. Digital document management goes without saying. We DocuSign a lot. We can't DocuSign everything. Clear communication channels, defined roles, all of that stuff that we do. Yeah, personally, yeah. So I talked about like voice memo. I've got in there, like this iPhone is my biggest tool. It's also my biggest enemy. I've got a physical dictaphone that 80s lawyers used to use that then connects to the cloud and then can upload. So that I use very heavily. I use AI to solve all of my problems, my personal assistants. And then, yeah, for me, digital's great, but digital distraction's the worst thing for me. So I disconnect a lot too and just become dead to the world. Yeah, and these are just honestly our challenges. This is what I was talking like Borgie about, like with the biggest challenges we've had with the Microsoft suite is it doesn't integrate well. We do use it for SharePoint, but we use it at its most basic features whilst we're using all this advanced functionality, reporting with HubSpot and with some of our other tools. We're using Microsoft like basic features. We've looked into with AI tools, whilst we've used a lot of other AI tools, we actually haven't used Copilot very well at all, I think, and some of this reporting. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of our issues, like not issues, like we've always getting some of these integrated into Advisor Logic. That's why we chose it. All these other things like compliance work, multi-system task management is a big deal. There's a few tools, not too many. Yeah, centralized client tracking, all of that. We can read out, but realistically, we've got that. But in terms of evolving, though, I think this is the future. We're doing this while we're doubling down so far on it. Is that I think remote first practices will be the ones that grow. They're the ones that will be able to. That's why also we're not structured like a normal financial planning practice in that we've got the sales arm separated from the delivery arm. A little bit, in a way, a little bit like a IT kind of company. So we can have multiple salespeople, multiple delivery, because there's not an unlimited source of financial plans. We only really need a planner to deliver the SOA. maybe in strategy creation. You don't need a financial planner doing the initial 15-minute calls. I mean, he so happens to be, he's not registered, he's not on the right, he's not on the ASIC register. Kevin, who does the initial sales part, he's a 17-year CFP, one of the guys who do the exam. He's good, he's got the knowledge, but if I can get someone else, I can have more of him. And I can have unlimited if I can train them, but can I get unlimited FPs? I don't think so. So geographical barriers, I've just talked about that suburban wise. That's why our business model, we're going to start targeting all of Australia. We already are, but we can double down on a region pretty easily. And I've tried to build this so that it's scalable, so we can get this bigger and bigger and have more people, help more people. And in terms of, as you can see, like just with one of the things I've always done, I don't believe in personal IP. Like you can tell anyone anything, and how many are actually going to steal your IP? I was just saying, we don't have the secret Coca-Cola recipe that we keep in a locked vault. Like we're just open. Like a lot of this, I haven't got to, this isn't all information from my own head. Some of it's my own, some of it's others. We've sort of Frankensteined it together, and a lot of our benefit, like a lot of opportunities have come from looking at not only FP businesses, but also unrelated businesses and getting lessons that you can get a lot of things from a client experience and just things that we do. And it's like, well, why do we do that? Doesn't make any sense. And it takes someone else to, even the payment one is a big one. Every FP they just think, yeah, you get paid a few weeks after the SOA, right? After the implementation, 3 months after, or you charge for, you present the SOA, then you take payment. It's like, well, why? Why can't you charge up front? Backers do it. Like a lot of other, I know it's completely unrelated, but a lot of these paradigms can be challenged without getting corporate and lanky about it. It's just, And most clients who see us, they haven't seen us on the back of 5 other FPs. Whatever we tell them is normal, especially around the Aged Care Gurus network. Like a lot of them were saying the whole, well, my clients would never fill in a pre-meeting questionnaire. My clients would never do a Zoom meeting. It's like, well, who are your clients? Clients who are generally speaking in their 50s and 60s, helping their parents going into aged care, because an aged care person's a client, or people downsizing. So are our clients that much different? We're all like, they're the same clients. So,
Shaun, sorry, quick question. Do you charge up front as well because of they're going into aged care? They may not live for, sometimes they do pass away before you're actually presenting the SOA, and then it's difficult trying to get the money.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, that's also part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that helps us, because there's nothing worse than doing 95% of the work and then not having any payment. We've had that.
And do you let's say it's terrible. Let's say they have passed away and you haven't actually presented the SOA. Do you pay some money back?
No, I don't. We don't, because what we do is so much of it, there's the tangible and intangible, that we are there to support the clients through the whole process. If they've got a share portfolio, clients don't know what an SOA, I know from a technical perspective, we think like, here's the SOA, this, but the reason we don't is that we then tell the clients, we're here to support you through this whole process. Do you know what probate is? Do you know what's going to happen with the shares? Do you know about the tax-free thresholds that apply to you, that apply to the estate, what you need to do? Have you got a lawyer that you're dealing with? Like, do you know what it takes to claim a RAD back? There's so many moving parts. We're here to support you through every part of this process. And so we have never had a client ever, and we've done this a while, we've done this for a lot of clients, they've never even asked us for a refund. So that is one thing that helps us. But honestly, the reason we did it was it's just a positive cash flow cycle. If we get 200 clients sign up next week, like at the moment, let's just call them 5 clients, I'd be like, great, you just banked like 100 grand or more than that. I mean, but we've just banked all this money. Great. Now I can go hire some resources to go and get this stuff done. Go on a recruitment drive, go deliver all of this stuff, and we've got the money. Whereas if I got that many clients and I wasn't going to get paid till the end, my business is done. It just doesn't work. So that's the primary reason, but the secondary reason or a tertiary reason is around that also. We do charge for it, like we charge an implementation fee and other things like that though. And I haven't gone into our ongoing service packages, but we have, 3 flat plus portfolio management ongoing, will be same as similar to what we all do.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say we're kind of out of time.
That's it. No, I'm done.
For probably half the day, to be honest. I just want to say thank you to Darcy for actually coming in and going through this forum. It's really great to actually hear about other businesses and how they're doing things and what they're challenging and why they're challenging. We all have the same challenges. It's just how you overcome those, and you haven't made them a barrier, which I think is fantastic. So, there's this issue, I've got to overcome it. How do I do that easily and simply, which is fantastic. Are you available for chats later on? I know that you've got to run out now, but
No, it depends what the.
we've got another couple of sessions and then we've got afternoon tea. But yeah, if anybody wants to have a chat with Shaun,
Yeah, we should be all right.
Our break is at 3:00, Shaun. Is that too long for you before we get to the break?
No, it should be all right. Let me just check. I've got a pickup, but I think my dad's doing it, so I think we're good. No, I think we should be all right. So.
And Shaun, for
thank you
your
so much.
geographical,
Yeah.
do you target areas with advertising and things like that? Like how do people that obviously you if you've got a fixed location that is your business address, how do you actually get all over Australia to engage with you?
Yeah, 2 things. One of them we did during COVID is we literally just paid for serviced offices in major capital cities. So we tell people that we've got an office in Sydney, an office in Brisbane, and which we kind of do, a serviced office, like if we need it.
So it's like a Waterman.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
another one where there's online only ones, but yes, we absolutely do. There's between us friends, there's no point too much in those regional areas at 500K house prices. There is no advice.
Yeah.
Sell the house, pay the rent. Like there's nothing left over at the end. There's nothing significant. Whereas eastern Sydney is a little bit different when it comes to aged care, as you can imagine. So yeah, we do target strategically, and this is a good thing. Like when it comes to Google ads and Facebook ads, you can be so precise. Even if people have if their phones have hit a certain area in a certain time and they've made this search, and then you can track them when they go to your website, send emails at that time. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
No, thank you for sharing for that.
no, all good.
Amazing. For those of you online, we're just going to drop out of this session to start the next session. But please, if you've got any questions, please through
We target
and
eight
chat.
Yeah, just-
CJ, thank you. And this is the meeting for all.
I'm going to read the whole.